take your heat gun or hairdryer and start applying heat to the outer edges of the screen in order to warm up and loosen the adhesive that secures the screen to the inner bezel. After you've loosened the adhesive enough, you will need to find an entry point to insert your pry tool underneath the glass to pry up the screen. If you are replacing a shattered glass touchscreen, as a tip, you can cover the screen in clear tape such as packing tape or scotch tape. This will help keep the broken pieces together as you pry the cracked screen off. You want to start on the left-hand side of the iPad because the flex cables for the touchscreen are located at the right, and you may not want to damage them with your pry tool. Once you have found a good spot to get your pry tool underneath the glass, you can insert an additional pry tool or guitar picks to start releasing the adhesive that secures the screen to the inner bezel. You can use multiple guitar picks as shims to prevent the screen from setting back onto the adhesive, but also as leverage when prying up the screen. And you're going to want to keep your heat gun handy, as you will most likely need to reapply heat a few times to loosen more of the adhesive. You want to work your way along all sides, gently releasing the adhesive from the glass. One thing that you'll want to be very cautious of is not to insert your pry tool too far underneath the screen because you could easily damage the surface of the LCD. Once you have freed the left side of the screen, you'll need to repeat the steps for the bottom and top sides. Slide your pry tool along the edges and sides and insert additional guitar picks as necessary to keep the screen propped up from the adhesive. As mentioned before, you may need to reapply heat as necessary to help loosen up stubborn areas. Once you have pried up the top, left, and bottom sides of the screen, you can then use your heat gun to help you fold over the screen from the left side towards the right like a book. If you are replacing a bad LCD screen, you want to be very cautious not to tear the cables that are still connected to the motherboard for your glass touchscreen. Next, we're going to remove the LCD screen. To do this, you'll need to remove 4 small Phillips screws located in all the corners of the LCD. Here circled in red, you will see the screw locations. Some of the screws may be covered with some of the factory adhesive, so you may have to do some poking around to find the screw location to remove it. As a reminder, all of these screws are the same size, so you won't have to worry about getting them mixed up. Just place them in a neat pile off to the side for reassembly. Next, you're going to lift out the LCD screen. Start from the top and pull it towards you. The LCD flex cable connection is located underneath this silver shield as you see at the bottom right. You'll need to remove the 3 small Phillips screws circled in red in order to remove the silver shield that's covering the connections for the touchscreen as well as the LCD screen. These screws are also the same size, so you won't have to worry about getting them mixed up. Just place them off to the side in a neat pile for reassembly. Be aware that the LCD flex cable is adhered to the underside of this silver shield. We find it easiest to take your nylon spudger or pry tool and pry from underneath the LCD flex cable in order to release the pop connection and the shield. With the connections now exposed, first release the jawbone connection by lifting up the black tab using your pry tool and slide out the ribbon cable. Next, you will then have 2 pop connections remaining to release the glass touchscreen. Gently lift up from underneath the silver socket using your pry tool to release the connections. Now you're ready to install your new touchscreen. But before installing a new glass touchscreen, you will need to clean up any glass shards or debris from the adhesive in order to be sure that you have a clean and flush application of your new screen. In some cases, you may choose to remove all of the old adhesive and apply a clean layer. You will see here we have removed all of the old adhesive and applied a fresh layer of double-sided adhesive tape. Here you can see an example of the areas that you will want to cover to ensure your new screen fits flush inside the bezel. Before installing your new touchscreen, make sure to remove all of the white film that's covering the double-sided adhesive. To install your new touchscreen digitizer, you will need to first attach the two pop connections in the correct sockets on the motherboard. Make sure they are secure by pressing firmly until you feel them pop into place. Next, insert your home button flex cable into the slot of its jawbone connection. Make sure the cable is fully inserted inside the slot, then secure the connection by folding down the black tab. You can use your pry tool to help insert the ribbon cable in the socket. Now you're ready to install your LCD screen. Give both the inside of your glass touchscreen and the surface of the LCD a quick wipe down using a microfiber cloth to remove any fingerprints or dust. If you did not replace the LCD screen and the flex cable is still adhered to the metal shield, line up the screw locations and gently pop the connections back into its socket. Now you will need to install the three small Phillips screws in the locations circled in red. Next, you are ready to lay your LCD back inside the inner housing. Make sure the screw locations line up properly and give your screens another quick wipe down. Next, you will need to install the four small Phillips screws in each corner of your LCD. You will see these screw locations circled in red. Finally, flip over your glass touchscreen and align it properly so it fits flush inside the bezel. Be careful not to touch the inside of the touchscreen or the LCD so you don't leave any fingerprints sealed underneath the glass. Press firmly on all edges to set the adhesive for a firm and long-lasting hold. Congratulations, you have successfully repaired your Apple iPad Air. Follow the links in the description below to find screen replacements, internal parts, and repair tools to fix your iPad Air at our website.